We're switching from this rather more Europe-centric approach and discussion, and we're opening out now to the situation, look a little bit more at the situation in Japan. As I mentioned at the beginning, we're very proud of the fact that we have international partners, and very proud of the fact that one of those is NEDO from Japan. And we will welcome Kentaro Morita. Morita-san will talk to us about the situation in Japan. He's Director General of the Global Technology Research Unit of the Technology Strategy Center for NEDO. So, Morita-san, the floor is yours to tell us all about what's happening in Japan. And we look forward very much to understanding a little bit more about what you're doing.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As now introduced brilliantly, I'm Kentaro Morita, working for Technology Strategy Center of NEDO, Japan. I'm very much honored today to have this opportunity of giving a presentation about Japan's bidirectional approach. Before explaining about our approach, I believe it's better to introduce our own organization first. The name of our organization, NEDO, is an acronym of New Energy Development Organization, so-called NEDO. NEDO is totally different from KEDO. Do you know KEDO? KEDO is Korean organization, Korean Energy Development Organization, but NEDO is Japanese organization, and the name is New Energy Development Organization, and which was established in 1980. Why was this established? Do you know what happened just before 1980? Yes. Two oil crises happened. 1973, first oil crisis, and 1979, and the second oil crisis. I think most of you know well, though Japan doesn't have any natural resources domestically, especially we don't have any petroleum domestically. The situation is totally different from Norwegian country. At that time, Japan's economy was the second largest in the world, next to America. We needed to sustain our economy. However, in parallel, Japan was depending on oil heavily. Around, if my memory was right, around 80% of energy demand was dependent on oil. In addition to that, Japan was heavily dependent on Middle Eastern countries for oil import. I think Japan was importing 80% of oil from Middle Eastern countries. However, in 1970s, all of oil import from Middle Eastern countries had stopped. How should we do that? At that time, Japan decided to substitute oil with renewable energy. That's the starting point of my organization. Then, name is New Energy Development Organization. After some demonstration or R&D projects, Japan realized that, oh, this new energy R&D contributed to industry competitiveness. At the time, saving energy meant saving cost. When the energy cost was expensive, the effect of energy saving was sufficient or significant. Then we added industrial technology aspect to our function. Then nowadays, NEDO's name is New Energy Development and Industrial Technology Development Organization. A little bit lengthened, made longer than before, but our initial focus doesn't change. From the viewpoint of our establishment, our missions were really clear. We can show two our basic missions. First one is addressing energy and global environmental problems, and next one is enhancing industrial technologies. From the beginning, our mission was really clear. I know today's theme is mission-oriented R&D, but from the viewpoint of Japanese history and experience, NEDO's mission was totally clear from the beginning of establishment. Then, when our missions are clear, our positioning is also clear. If we locate NEDO in the center of Japanese structures, of course we communicate with government to formulate policies. At the same time, we communicate with industries to promoting practical appliances and R&D projects. Yeah, I had a question about organizational structure in the previous session. I can show the STI, Science, Technology and Innovation structure in Japan here. In short, we can see the academia sector in the left side, yellow-colored side. Next is Ministry of Education, Science, Culture, and Technology. This ministry is in charge of education and academia. Then they're covered by yellow line, and at the bottom we can see the academia. On the other hand, there is a Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry, and this ministry is in charge of industry or competitiveness of technology or something. And our organization, NEDO, is belonging to this ministry, so-called METI. Next slide shows our organizational structure. On the top of left, I can see the picture of my president. He's coming from chemical company. And there are 10 back offices. We can see it in the gray-colored area. In every organization, there is indirect or back office sectors, but we have 10 departments for back office function. And we can see 10 promoting departments that are colored by blue and green boxes. In blue box, we can see 4 industrial technology departments like AI, IoT, robotics, materials, nanotechnology, and so on. These are all related to the development of industrial technology. On the other hand, we can see some energy and environmental departments on the green box. Of course, we are promoting energy conservation projects, new energy projects. But nowadays, we added some advanced battery projects, hydrogen technology projects, smart community something. These are related to energy and environmental projects. This orange box is really important because I'm belonging to this orange sector, Technology Strategy Center, but let me explain later. Next slide shows our overseas offices. We have 6 overseas offices, and we have a European office in Paris. Unfortunately, it's not located in Luxembourg, but Paris we have. And today, some colleagues are attending here from Paris office. And we have other Beijing office, Washington office, Silicon Valley office, Bangkok office, and New Delhi office. And in total, 6 offices are there across the world. We are demonstrating some cooperative projects in many areas. For instance, in Europe, we have 6 demonstrating projects. Most of them are related to smart energy or total management of energy consumption and demand. But some of them, in Germany, we have a medical projects. We are demonstrating the technology of HAL. It's supporting the aged people or some handicapped people or something. But basically, we are doing projects related to energy management. Next slide shows our budget. We are asked to use 1.43 billion US dollars, about 1.3 European euro or something, in 2019 tentative budget basis. Most of them are used for energy and environment. The green ones are energy and environment. Around 5 million US dollars are used for energy systems, and another 390 million US dollars are used for energy conservation. And other budgets are for industrial technologies. I can show some examples of our results. We are covering wide range of technology fields, like new energy conservation. We can see in the photo of some slides, and clean coal technologies, rechargeable batteries, energy systems, environment and resource conservation, and etc. And industrial field, we can see electronics, information telecommunication, so-called IT, or new manufacturing technologies, and so on. This one is one of the famous result of NEDO's project in our history, photovoltaic power generation. I explained that NEDO was established in 1980, but the direct trigger was to resolve the photovoltaic generation. Resolve means a cost reduction of photovoltaic module cost. Around 1970s, Japanese government decided to reduce the module cost of photovoltaic generation to 1/200 in 40 years. I'm not native speaker, so how to say, but anyway, we needed to reduce module cost to 1/200 in next 40 years. That was our target. Then it's maybe mission-oriented or target-oriented, but we were not sure this target was right or not, right or wrong. But anyway, we decided this target, 200 in next 40 years. And just after that, in order to realize that NEDO was established in 1980s, so our mission was totally clear what we should do, but we are not sure we were able to do it, but we must have done it. That was our situation. However, 2070, so just 40 years later, after that, we achieved the target. We achieved the cost of 1/200 of photovoltaic module cost. This was our one of successful stories. We also have another. We have also another success stories like fuel cells for household use. And in the technology, industrial technology sector, we developed some single-wall carbon nanotube. It's a little bit technical, but we also contributed to the development of Blu-ray disc, the innovation of recording. Then let me explain about my organization. My means Technology Strategy Center. This organization or this center was established 5 years ago. The reason why this center was established was to make a whole viewpoint of technology development. Yeah, we until 5 years ago we have some useful and fruitful project. However, at that time we lost our total view of project, individual projects. For example, how to prioritize it and how to select the next projects. In order to do that, we needed a whole picture of technology world. Then this center was established. The second point is one of our main function, formulating technology strategies in key fields. And next, another important responsibility is fifth one, fostering human resources capable of project management. That is, we are creating strategy and managers. Strategy for R&D or innovation projects and human resources for managing such projects. Both, we are creating both resources. Then next slide is really important today. TSC's methodology, so-called bidirectional approach. By we using this approach to determine key target technology fields and projects. Bidirectional means backcasting and forecasting. We call it backcasting, but backcasting means it's a little difficult to explain, but backcast is opposite of forecast. Not a wishing to. In the backcasting function, first we extract social issues. Next, we identify the focal issues. And lastly, we identify target technology fields needed for social challenges. These are 3 steps of backcasting approach. In parallel, we do forecasting approach from the bottom part. First, we compare some technology forecasts from the existing technologies. And next, we identify which existing technology can provide new value. And lastly, we refine such technologies, select or scrutinize such technologies from the viewpoint of backcasting. And After that, we combine this backcasting approach and forecasting approach, and we combine some aspects in some criteria. And finally, we decide the project or strategy which we should focus on the next era. This one is criteria of methodologies. There are three criteria. First one is social and industrial needs. From this viewpoint, we study other nations' policy as well as our own Japan's policy. And next criteria is market potential. Is there any market potential? Is it a big market potential domestically or internationally? And the last one, technological capability. Is there any key players domestically, or do they have advanced technologies? Like that. And from these three viewpoints, we select our next strategy or our next project. In order to complement it, we have three meetings or conferences. The first one is social demand study group or social demand brainstorming study group. It's closed and informal. Another one is technological seeds study group. Technological seeds brainstorming study group. It's also closed and informal. But we formulate these conferences internally. And finally, we combine them on the stage of technology strategy meeting in NEDO. It's formal, but still closed. That's because in this meeting, some participants mention about the name of companies, name of technologies, individual technologies. So we cannot open it. Then it's closed, but formal. And in this technology strategy meeting, we decide all of strategy. Next slide shows the scheduling of our strategy and project making. My strategy center is in charge of first 2 years. That is, strategy center is in charge of the beginning of strategy and projects. We are starting point. We need to decide first we should start. After that, promotion department like saving energy or AI, nanotechnology, like such promoting department will conduct individual projects. And after that, evaluation department will evaluate them 10 years later. Our TSC, Technology Strategy Center, have already released 33 fields of strategies. These are all shown in websites. However, these are all described in Japanese. It's not closed, it's open. We tend to open, however, it's a restriction of budget or knowledge of translation. Please allow us, but we are really open about our results. If you can have good ability of Japanese, please have an access it. Thank you very much for it. Questions?
Slide on, maybe I can ask already one. Could you give an example of a mission that you currently are addressing? I mean, we understand that when NEDO was started, we had this issue with the photovoltaic. And currently, could you give us an idea of the type of targets you are pursuing?
I see. Yeah. We have some focusing projects, but from the viewpoint of energy and environment, hydrogen and batteries really focused recently. hydrogen, and batteries. And from the viewpoint of industrial technologies, maybe material and AI, IoT, or something.
But do you still have these clear objectives, these targets, like reducing costs from 1 to 200? Do you have also this for batteries? And
Target is clear, but really divided into smaller pieces. How to say? In the past, the target is just only one target of 1 to 100. But in nowadays, we have targets, but various aspects of targets. So it's not only one target.
Okay, well then we can move to the questions from the audience. The first one is one from an engineer, I guess. Which type of fuel cells were developed? So we talk about SOFC?
Both type of fuel cells are developed. I think. Yeah, I know. SOFC, and there is another type of fuel cell, right? But it depends on the allocation of companies, and we are treating them fairly, but basically both.
And then, well, there is one, I think the question was for Anne initially, and I think you will also have to answer this one, is about the involvement of citizens in the process. You touched upon that, talking about the different discussion groups you had, and but how do you select actually the people that are involved in the process? Is there a selection, or is it open calls, or how does it work?
In the last slide, I introduced the 33 fields, and these are explained in the open conference in Tokyo. And of course, people, citizens are welcomed, very much welcomed to this conference. And we, NEDO, of course, believe that it's the era of inclusiveness. So we should not exclude the participation of people, citizens. However, before that, the challenge is to break silos. It looks a little bit different, but first, we should open our siloed structures, and we need to create some cross-cutting aspects. Not only citizens, but also industries, businesses, academias. So breaking first silo, participation of citizens second, but always, we are always open.
Okay, well, maybe I revert to you also, because that question was for you initially. How did you involve citizens in your process of defining missions?
Not in these two I presented, I would say. We have involved patient groups in the latter. We have also involved patient groups and families of patients in a quite interesting and very challenging call we had related to fatigue syndrome. That was a lot of learning, because there are a lot of different schools and ideas whether the fatigue syndrome, ME, I'm not sure what the English name is, is a biomedical or psychological founded or related disease. So there we had a lot of, groups with a lot of people involved to try to see if we could summon on some interesting projects. So, but of course it's on the agenda. We have done it also on the climate. Some of the climate calls we have involved citizens, but we're just in the beginning, so I cannot say we are very good on that area.
Thank you. Well, I think that were all the questions we had to you. Thank you, Kentaro.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I can also show the results of the different polls we had. The first one is this one, regarding the articulation of EU and national. Well, it seems that an overwhelming majority is in favor of aligning with EU missions, but also sees the potential to identify locally missions that could be relevant at a regional or national level. And then we have also some people that would go for just pursuing, defining common mission at European level and just going for those. And finally, those who think that missions should be defined locally, but then we should find a way to collaborate at European level. There is only, I think, one exception where someone would think that we can define mission locally and they should be implemented locally. So yes, we can see that there is a willingness to collaborate at European level, at least to some extent. And also the other question. Yeah, we had a poll on how mission-oriented our agencies are today. Oh, that was you. Rebecca, yeah. So yeah, the majority is rather thinking that we are not so much today mission-oriented. It's 50% that is either at the very beginning or that has still a lot to learn. Ah, now it changes, that's good. So we already, this thanks to the conference today, we already see that some people got all the elements to feel ready to get back home and implement the elements. And we also have some 5-star people, so yeah, that would be great. I hope in the second part of the meeting we will hear about also these 5-star people that think that they are actually already ready to implement the missions. Okay.
Okay, good. Morita-san, I'm a native English speaker and I compliment you on your use of the English language. It's exceptional. Really is very, very good. I think it's good for the meeting to understand also that Morita-san is here in Europe this week primarily to be with us today. And again, we appreciate that very, very much, so thank you again.